The Senate will come to order. The senators will please take their seats. Those persons not entitled to the privilege of the floor will please retire to the gallery. The senators and all in attendance will stand and be led in prayer by Bishop John N. Gray, Sr., Bethel Restoration Center, Williamsburg, Virginia.
Good morning. Let us pray. Gracious and all-wise God, our Father, you are the inspiration of every generation, every noble aspiration to which we give honor and thanksgiving. God, as your creation, help us to desire righteousness and more than rights, and mirror sacrifice more than selfishness. Turn our weakness into strength. Bath us with your grace, even though none of us deserve it. It is you, O God, who keeps us through these tumultuous and most difficult times. It's the strength of your hand that has postponed and suspended the hands of the enemy. Now, God, be not indignant with us, O Lord, for our many failures, which we acknowledge and regret, but remit our offenses and give us compassion. Fill us with yourself and with your love, so that there would be no room for anything else in our heart. I ask now, not just for your blessings, but for thyself, for you, who is the giver of all blessings and of all life. Yet, Father, there are days when the burdens carried vitiates our shoulders and weigh us down, when the road seems dreary and endless and lives have no music in them because of the loss of loved ones and friends, because of the intense, odious decisions that must be made by this Senate on a daily basis. Therefore, O Lord, I invoke today that you would escort this Senate as you escorted the children of Israel through the wilderness by your mighty hand. Therefore, go before this great Senate with the rod of your power and the staff of your wisdom, and then we all shall know that with God nothing shall be impossible. And so, O God, as this Senate navigate the strains and strivings and the stress of the day, let them wait to hear you say, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." To God be the glory. Amen.
Amen. The clerk will call the roll. All those present will vote aye. Clerk will close the roll.
You have a quorum, Mr. President. Senate Journal for Thursday, January 25th, 2018.
Thank you, Madam Clerk. The senator from Lynchburg, Senator Peake, moves that the reading of the journal be waived. All in favor of the waiving of the reading of the journal will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 3.
Ayes 36, noes 3. The reading of the journal is waived. The clerk will report any communication from the House of Delegates. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I respectfully move that we waive the reading of any communications received from the House of Delegates.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the reading of the communication be waived? All in favor of the waiving of the reading of the communication from the House of Delegates will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 3.
Ayes 36, noes 3. The reading of the communication from the House of Delegates is waived. Clerk will report any communication from the governor.
I do not have any, sir.
The senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I respectfully move that the rules of the Senate be suspended and that the privileges of the floor be extended to a former distinguished member.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the privileges of the floor be granted to a distinguished person? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The rules are suspended. The privileges of the floor are granted. The chair recognizes the senator from James City County, Senator Norman, for purposes of presenting the distinguished guest.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would ask the Senate to join with me in welcoming back a gentleman who served many years and was my seatmate and my alter ego on so many issues. He accomplished so much as being the chairman of the Courts Committee. Also, he chaired the Crime Commission and worked on many, many pieces of legislation. So, Mr. President, if you would be kind enough to extend a welcome to the Lord High Sheriff of Virginia Beach, the former Senator Ken Stolley.
Sheriff Stolley, if you please rise. Thank you so much for joining us here today, and welcome back to a place that you're very familiar with. We thank you for your distinguished service here in the Commonwealth of Virginia for many years. We also thank your wonderful family for the great work that they have done and the service that they have given. And I would ask all the senators present and all those in attendance to please join me in echoing the words of the senator from James City County, Senator Norman, and extending the warm welcome of the Senate to Virginia Beach Sheriff Stolley. Now's come the time to welcome visitors and take up any matters for the morning hour. We recognize the senator from Northern Fairfax, Senator Howe.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to ask for an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
We have visiting us today Paige Coleman, who is the parent of our Senate Paige Carolyn Coleman, and I hope you'll give her the warm welcome of the Senate.
Thank you, Senator. Would Paige Coleman please rise to the gallery? Ms. Coleman, thank you so much for joining us here today. We are honored to have you in the Senate, and we are all very big fans of your wonderful daughter, Caroline, and thank her for her great service as a page, and thank you for allowing her to serve with us. So I would ask everyone here in attendance to please join me in extending the warm welcome of the Senate to Paige Coleman. The senator from Franklin, Senator Stanley.
Good morning, Mr. President.
Morning, Senator.
It's nice to see you, sir.
It's great to see you as always.
I rise for the purposes of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Members of the Senate, in the gallery today, we have some very special people from Franklin County who mean the world to me. Up there on the left-hand side is my law partner, Aaron Houchins, who has very graciously agreed to make a lot of money for me so I don't have to work so hard. That's a rare trait, and I hope it continues. With him is his wonderful mom, Peggy Bala, who is an exceptional person, and we're glad to have her here, and one of the best realtors in all the world, Debbie Baran. So, Mr. President, if you would extend to my friends from Franklin County the warm welcome of the Senate, I'd most appreciate it.
I appreciate you, Senator. Thank you.
Thank you,
would you all please rise in the gallery? Thank you so much for joining us here today. We echo the very generous and kind words of Senator Stanley, and thank you for your leadership here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. I also understand that, Aaron, you are Caroline Coleman's uncle. And so we have a family gathering here today along with Paige, her mom, and Deb, my mother-in-law, is a realtor as well. So I have special respect and admiration for realtors. And Peggy, thank you so much for being here as well. We're grateful to you. You are welcome anytime. And would ask everyone to please join me in extending the warm welcome of the Senate to all three of you. The senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. First of all, I would ask that the journal reflect a leave of absence of my seatmate, the senator from Bedford, who is out of town on pressing personal business, sir.
Without objection, the journal will so note.
Mr. President, also rise for purpose of an introduction.
The senator has the floor.
Mr. President, I'd appreciate it if you would extend an extraordinarily warm welcome to the bishop who delivered our invocation this morning. Bishop John Gray, Sr., has been a friend of mine for many years, and I have been fascinated watching the growth in his congregation and his church. He is the bishop and the under shepherd and senior pastor of the Bethel Restoration Center, which is located in Williamsburg, Virginia, which is his native city. At age 21, he traveled back to the capital city here to serve faithfully under his former pastor, Bishop Harrison Sr. After becoming a pastor, he began his own ministry in 1981 in the living room of his late mother, Sister Rose Nell Gray, along with 8 people, both family and friends. 8 people. Soon he began to find empty space to hold Sunday services, no matter if they were in a funeral home or a closed-down nightclub. In 1984, he was able to move into a building which would hold almost 150 people. And I remember this day vividly. In 1998, he began construction of an edifice to seat 800 people, which is still under continuing construction as of today. Bishop Gray holds a bachelor's and associate's degree in theology and currently is pursuing his master's degree at Virginia Union Seminary. He is happily married to his childhood sweetheart, who is also in the gallery, Laverne Pressey, and he's the father to 6 children, a grandfather, a great-grandfather, and a great-great-grandfather. So if you would be so kind to extend a very warm welcome from the Senate of Virginia to my friend, Bishop John N. Gray, Sr.
I thank the senator. Bishop Gray and Laverne Gray, would you please rise in the gallery? Thank you so much for joining us here today. Bishop, thank you for that really beautiful, wonderful prayer to get us off to such a great start. Laverne, thank you for joining us, and I want to thank you both collectively for your leadership. You have a beautiful family and a wonderful story. Senator Norman said it so eloquently about your history, your background, and what you're doing now to make our Commonwealth so much better. So we want to thank you, give you our honor, and please join me in extending the warm welcome of the Senate to Bishop and Laverne Gray. The senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson.
Thank you, Mr. President. Rise for an introduction.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, ladies and gentlemen of the Senate, I have a constituent here from Vienna, Virginia, Mr. Dan Press. He's a local attorney in the bankruptcy bar, member of the 11th District Democratic Committee, and former Boy Scout troop leader. And his son, Ben, was very well-renowned. Perhaps a more successful politician, was the student rep on the Fairfax County School Board. So I hope we can give him the warm welcome of the Senate.
I thank the senator. Dan Press, thank you for being here with us today in the gallery. We are all grateful for your work in the bar and in civic life here in the Commonwealth of Virginia. We are, as Senator Peterson said, very big fans of your family, in particular your son, Ben Press, who is now a Princeton Tiger, but still comes back and visits us a great deal. And so thank you for your leadership, for taking the time to be here today. You're always welcome. And I would ask everyone please to join me in extending the warm welcome of the Senate to Dan Press. Do any other senators wish to be recognized for purposes of an introduction? Seeing none, the clerk will call the calendar.
Senate calendar for Friday, January 26, 2018. Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on third reading.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. They wrote in bold letters this morning, third reading. So, Mr. President, I respectfully move that all the Senate bills on the third reading on the uncontested calendar, including all Senate bills on pages 1 through 10, which would include Senate Bill 154 through Senate Bill 818, be placed on their final passage in the block. Any senator that desires to remove a bill from the block should please do so after the clerk has read the number of that bill.
I thank the senator. The question is, shall the Senate bills on the uncontested calendar, third reading, pages 1 through 10, Senate Bill 154 through Senate Bill 818, be placed upon their final passage in the block, with the understanding that any senator desiring a bill be removed from the block will do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to. The bills are before us in the block. The clerk will read the number of the bills.
Senate Bill 154, Senate Bill 172.
Mr. President,
Senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
I move that Senate Bill 172 be removed from the block and go by for the day.
Without objection, Senate Bill 172 is removed from the block and will go by for the day.
Senate Bill 176, Senate Bill 197, Senate Bill 230, Senate Bill 244.
The senator from Chesterfield, Senator Chase.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that SB 176 come out of the block.
Okay. Without objection, Senate Bill 176 will be removed from the block.
Senate Bill 244, Senate Bill 260, Senate Bill 268.
Mr. President.
The junior senator from Richmond City, Senator McClellan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate Bill 268 come out of the block for purposes of an abstention.
Without objection, Senate Bill 268 will be removed from the block.
Senate Bill 286. Senate Bill 294. Senate Bill 314. Senate Bill 320. Senate Bill 325. Senate Bill 384.
Mr. President.
The junior senator from Richmond City, Senator McClellan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate Bill 384 come out of the block for purposes of an abstention.
Without objection, Senate Bill 384 is removed from the block.
Senate Bill 387. Senate Bill 391. Senate Bill 396. Senate Bill 418.
Mr. President.
The junior senator from Richmond City, Senator McClellan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate Bill 418 come out of the block. Same reason.
Without objection, Senate Bill 418 is removed from the block.
Senate Bill 478. Senate Bill 513.
Mr. President.
The junior senator from Richmond City, Senator McClellan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate Bill 513 come out of the block for purposes of an abstention.
Without objection, Senate Bill 513 is removed from the block.
Senate Bill 514. Senate Bill 528, Senate Bill 539, Senate Bill 542, Senate Bill 818.
The senator from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline.
Thank you, Mr. President. Can Senate Bill 818 please come out of the block?
Without objection, Senate Bill 818 is removed from the block. The question is, shall the bills...
Mr. President.
Senator from Chesterfield, Senator Chase.
Thank you, Mr. President. I ask that Senate Bill 542 come out of the block, please, for purposes of an abstention.
Without objection, Senate Bill 542 is removed from the block. Do any senators wish to remove any other bills from the block? Seeing none, the question is, shall the bills in the block pass? That is all bills except for the following: Senate Bills 172, Senate Bill 176, Senate Bill 268, Senate Bill 384, Senate Bill 418, Senate Bill 513, Senate Bill 818, and Senate Bill 542. All in favor of the passage of the bills will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The bills in the block pass.
Returning to page 2, Senate Bill 176.
Senator From Franklin, Senator Stanley.
Yes, Mr. President, I stand to rise in a motion that Senate Bill 176 pass, and speaking to the motion.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 176 deals with repealing a part of the code in regards to a bill that I passed last year, which would help actually annuities and life insurance, those products that are purchased by people in the Commonwealth of Virginia, be protected from creditors. And that was a policy statement that this body made. The only problem is when we put in that code section last year, that conflicted with another code section which caused 2 court cases. In each court case, in bankruptcy court in the Federal District and the Eastern District of Virginia, the court found that the new language applied over top of the old language. What this is a cleanup bill to make sure that the policy that was adopted by this body and the body across the hall, signed by the governor last year, is clear in our code. So for those reasons, Mr. President, I now renew my motion that Senate Bill 176 pass.
Thank the senator. For what purpose does the senator from Spotsylvania, Senator Reeves, rise?
Will the senator from Franklin rise for a question?
Will Senator yield to a question?
Yes, sir, Mr. President, I'll yield.
Senator yields. Senator Reeves, you have the floor.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. President. As I read 38.2, 3123, I believe it goes to speak to what you're actually trying to do, which is still remain and reserve the right for those beneficiaries assigned those policies or annuities, the ability to hold on to that without creditors rating that. Is that the intent of what this does?
Mr. President, I'd answer the gentleman by saying exactly. In fact, what we're trying to do is with the new subsection F, not create any inconsistency that a court might find with the intent, which is to protect annuities, insurance contracts from and the value of those from any creditor.
Thank you, Mr. President. That satisfies my curiosity. Thank you.
Thank the senator. Thank you. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 176? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 176 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0, Rule 36-1.
Ayes 38, no 0, Rule 36-1. Senate Bill 176 passes.
On page 4, Senate Bill 268.
The senator from Henrico, Senator Donovan.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to speak to the bill and move that it pass.
The senator has the floor.
This is a bill that is proposed by my county, and it's an ingenious way to help counties recruit more business and expand our economic opportunities by giving them permission to reduce personal property tax, or accelerate it rather, on some equipment that was overlooked in the code previously without this language change.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 268? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 268 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 2, Rule 36-2.
Ayes 36, noes 0, Rule 36-2. Senate Bill 268 passes.
On page 6, Senate Bill 384.
The senior senator from Loudoun, Senator Black.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 384 was submitted at the request of Loudoun County. We have an extremely fast-growing county, and when we were in our heyday with American Online and various other companies like that, we were burying fiber optic cable in a rather indisciplined fashion. As a consequence, we've got fiber optic cable that lies on certain public property, places where we want to build roads, we want to do things of that sort, and so some of the earlier cable is not marked. Now, of course, you have Miss Utility who comes out. You can identify when it's there, but then you got to figure out, okay, what do you do? Who do you contact? And we don't necessarily know who to contact. We didn't want to do a study bill. We didn't want to do a bill that would require some particular action to be taken, but simply to gather together the stakeholders under the guidance of VDOT. And that really is all that this bill does. It brings together the stakeholders under VDOT to see if they can see if there are actions that can reasonably be taken that would make it easier to locate, to identify the owners of the fibers. I see my friend Lionel. I believe I've told you enough. Thank you very much. I want you to pass it.
I thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 384? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 384 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, no 0, Rule 36-2.
Ayes 37, no 0, Rule 36-2. Senate Bill 384 passes.
On page 7, Senate Bill 418.
The senator from Southern Fairfax County, Senator Barker.
Mr. President, I move that the bill pass. And speaking to the bill,
the senator has the floor.
Mr. President and members of the Senate, what this bill does is provide for all 911 systems throughout the Commonwealth by July of 2020 to have the capability of accepting text messages. This was originally a recommendation following the mass killing at Virginia Tech 11 years ago, and has been implemented in many jurisdictions, but not all the jurisdictions have gotten on board. There is funding provided through the order from the Federal Communications Commissions from the cell phone companies to implement the system, so there's no additional cost to the localities. Thank you.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 418? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 418 pass? All those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, no 0, Rule 36-2.
Ayes 37, no 0, Rule 36-2. Senate Bill 418 passes.
On page 8, Senate Bill 513.
The senator from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline.
I move that Senate Bill 513 pass. Speaking to that motion.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 513 is the Enhanced Public Safety Telephone Service Act. It provides for implementation of Next Generation 911. The current analog telephone network, which has been the backbone of our system, is being abandoned in favor of a new digital IP network, so the Commonwealth must start transitioning to the new 911 system. This is incredibly important legislation, and I hope the Senate will agree with it so we can continue having our important 911 services.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 513? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 513 pass? All those in favor will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, no 0, Rule 36-2.
Ayes 37, no 0, Rule 36-2. Senate Bill 513 passes.
On page 9, Senate Bill 542.
Senator from Rockingham County, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move the bill pass. Mr. President.
Senator has the floor.
This bill is a domestic surplus lines insurance law that levels the playing field for Virginia companies wishing to offer surplus lines of insurance. It conforms our law with other states and opens some areas for Virginia companies that otherwise we're going to require a lot more administrative hurdles to be crossed.
I thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 542? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 542 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0, Rule 36-1.
Ayes 38, no 0, Rule 36-1. Senate Bill 542 passes.
On page 10, Senate Bill 818.
Senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger. Okay.
Mr. President, I move that the bill pass. Let's speak to that. Thank you, Mr.
Senator
President.
has the floor.
This bill will add Rockingham County to the standard list of counties that we allow to impose an additional occupancy tax with the proceeds going to promote tourism. Hope it be the pleasure of the Senate to pass the bill.
I thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 818? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 818 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 31, no 7.
Ayes 31, no 7. Senate Bill 818 passes.
Regular calendar. Senate bills on third reading. Senate Bill 49, a bill relating to sex offenders and emergency shelters, notification, registration.
Senior Senator from Chesapeake, Senator Cosgrove.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the bill pass and speaking to the bill.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 49 would require that any person on the sex offender registry list would have to notify a member of emergency shelter staff or a responsible party upon entering such a facility. Mr. President, as I said, I move the bill pass.
I thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 49? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 49 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 32, no 7.
Ayes 32, no 7. Senate Bill 49 passes.
Senate Bill 106, a bill relating to standards and criteria for congressional and state legislative districts.
The senator from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that Senate Bill 106 pass, having previously been explained. No, I move that it pass and speaking to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
This is the bill that we discussed at length yesterday. It's the redistricting reform bill. It provides a new redistricting criteria for the General Assembly to use when drawing congressional and state legislative lines. We discussed it at length yesterday, and I renew the motion that it pass.
I thank the senator. Senator from Lynchburg, Senator Peake. For what purpose does the senator rise?
I ask the gentleman from Roanoke if he will yield for a question.
Will the senator from Roanoke County yield for a question?
Yes. I've never done this with the person directly behind me before, though.
Senator Peake, you have the floor.
Yes. Has the redistricting group that's been working for a number of years now on redistricting, it's 2021, whatever the official name is, have they weighed in on your bill?
I understand that they've endorsed it. Does that complete your... Thank you.
Senator for his question and for the response. For what purpose does the senator from Bath, Senator Deeds, rise?
Mr. President, I rise to speak to the bill.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, since 2002, 2003, I've introduced dozens of redistricting bills, and I'm convinced that the people would be better served if we came up with a nonpartisan way to do redistricting. And I proposed a panel outside of the legislative process. It would require a constitutional amendment. I'm not going to vote for this bill, and I'm not going to vote for this bill because it places one criteria, political subdivision lines, above all else. I think the people that want redistricting reform are interested, Mr. President, in districts that produce more competitive races. And the competitive races are not the end in themselves. The competitive races, they hope, will produce a legislative body that is more conducive to solving problems and not just a polarized debating society. Thank you.
I thank the senator. Senator from Western Fairfax, Senator Marsden. For what purpose does the senator rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. Speak to the bill.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd just like to make an observation more than an argument here, but I'd like to make the observation, and I'm going to vote against this bill. I think it's fine for the House to be more confined to communities of interest and political subdivisions, but the Senate, with our longer terms and our larger numbers of voters, over 200,000, I think it behooves us to take a wider view of the Commonwealth of Virginia and not be confined to the views of just a few political subdivisions. I think it's something that works well in the Senate to have that broader view. I'm one of only 2 members here in the Senate who have their district totally within one political subdivision. And I think it would be beneficial if somehow I had further out into the exurbs or perhaps a rural piece of the Commonwealth to better understand their issues. And I think that's what the Senate is all about. So in this particular situation, I think that this bill does not suit the Senate of Virginia very well, and I intend to vote against it. Thank you.
I thank the senator. For what purpose does the senior senator from Loudoun County rise?
Speak in favor of the measure.
The senator has the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have talked about redistricting for a long time, and I applaud the gentleman for the excellent piece of legislation that he has introduced. When I was elected to this body, there was some concern that I might be running for office. And at the time, it was not the Republicans who did the redistricting, it was Democrats. And they designed what we refer to in Loudoun County as the Dick Black Memorial District. And the Dick Black Memorial District, suddenly I found myself living in Arlington rather than Loudoun County. And there was a great block of Arlington County, which then had an arm that stretched all the way down the Potomac River until it fetched Dick Black's neighborhood. Well, Dick Black, unbeknownst to the world, had moved, and so here I am. But in any event, I think this is a wonderful bill. I think it's time that we had somewhat more contiguous districts, and so I think this is a great measure. Thank you.
I thank the senator. Senator from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline.
Mr. President, if no one else wishes to speak.
Do any other? The senator from Roanoke City, Senator Edwards, for what purpose do you rise?
Mr. President, I rise to speak against the bill.
The senator has the floor.
As we discussed, Mr. President, yesterday with the substitute, this is like putting a square peg in a round hole. It doesn't fit. And that's because you're putting the legislative lines on top of local lines that have been there sometimes for hundreds of years that do not comport with communities of interest anymore. And so what you're doing is, say, for example, Virginia adopted 100 counties, I don't know when, the 19th century probably, sometime after the Civil War, and each county was set up right after the Civil War at some point. It certainly before the 20th century, and it provided that county seats should be situated so that everybody in the county could get to the county seat, to the courthouse, by horseback by a day. Now, how many people take their horses to the court? Not too often. Things have changed dramatically, and what we're doing is saying that antiquated system now would trump how we make legislative lines in Virginia. It makes absolutely no sense. Now, the biggest problem is what the Supreme Court is now dealing with. They've argued this case out of Wisconsin, I believe, and the Pennsylvania courts have also ruled The question there is whether or not political issues should be inordinately important in deciding redistricting. The Pennsylvania court said no, political consideration should not be inordinately important. Other factors should be balanced. And the U.S. Supreme Court also has that case. I think at the very least, we should wait to hear from the United States Supreme Court on this very important redistricting case before we even take up this bad bill. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the senator. For what purpose does the senator from Northern Fairfax, Senator Howe, rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise to speak against the bill and to answer the question from the senator from Lynchburg.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. The One Virginia 2021 group was supportive of my bill. I put it in at their request. It was rolled in to Senator Suderline's bill and stripped down to just one criteria instead of the original 7 or 8. What it now has happened is more criteria have been added back, but the one of most importance, the one dealing with gerrymandering directly, is no longer in the bill. So they are, I think at this point it's accurate to say, neutral on it. It does not meet their goals. Is it better than nothing? I can't speak for them. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the senator. For what purpose does the senator from Northern Chesapeake, Senator Spruill, rise?
Thank you, Mr. President. Move the pending question.
I'm sorry, Senator. I didn't hear.
Move the pending question.
Senator says. Okay. The pending question is, shall Senate Bill 106 pass? The question is, shall the pending question be ordered? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 25, noes 12.
Ayes 25, noes 12. The pending question has been ordered. The question is, shall Senate Bill 106 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 22, noes 17.
Ayes 22, noes 17. Senate Bill 106 passes.
Senate Bill 120, a bill relating to alcoholic beverage control, substance abuse prevention, Virginia Institutions of Higher Education Substance Use Advisory Committee established.
The senator from Arlington, Senator Favola.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill pass. And speaking to the motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. What this bill does is it establishes an advisory committee to a program that's already in existence at ABC. The program in existence is the Higher Education Alcohol and Drug Strategic Unified Prevention Program, commonly referred to as Heads Up. Again, this bill creates an advisory committee to that program. Members of the advisory committee would come from public and private institutions of higher education, certainly college-age students and individuals who can offer expertise in education, prevention, and intervention strategies where it comes to substance abuse issues. I respectfully ask that the body pass this. Thank you.
I thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 120? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 120 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 2.
Ayes 37, noes 2. Senate Bill 120 passes.
Senate Bill 188, a bill relating to the Virginia Public Procurement Act, competitive negotiation, professional services, simultaneous negotiation.
The senator from Arlington, Senator Favola.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill pass. And speaking to the motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. What this bill does is it enables public bodies, when they are attempting to procure services other than engineering and architectural services, to be able to negotiate a lower price among the top two bidders, as long as conversations did not take place earlier before the RFP was issued. This is a bill that Loudoun County requested, but all public agencies would benefit from it. It's one of those bills that will enable our public agencies to actually get the very best value for the taxpayer dollar. Again, I ask that the body pass this. Thank you.
I thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 188? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 188 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 24, noes 15.
Ayes 24, noes 15. Senate Bill 188 passes.
Senate Bill 192, a bill relating to the Virginia Lottery, interception of lottery prizes.
The senator from Lynchburg, Senator Peake.
Yes, Mr. President, I move that the bill pass. And speaking to the bill.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a fairly straightforward bill. We already have a statute that allows the Commonwealth to recoup certain back debts from lottery proceeds. All this bill does is add TANF payments to what can be recouped from lottery winnings. And this is a bipartisan bill. This is actually taken from New York State. So this is one of the categories they have in New York State. This bill adds TANF. And if people use TANF money to buy lottery tickets, happen to win, the state should recoup those funds. I move that the bill pass.
For what purpose does the senator from Fairfax City, Senator Peterson, rise?
Gentleman yield for a very brief question.
Will the gentleman yield?
I yield, Mr. President.
Gentleman yields. Senator has the floor.
Is the Virginia Lottery going to put a disclosure on their advertising that TANF recipients will have to give the money back if they happen to win a prize?
Speaking, answering the question to the senator from Fairfax, currently there are no disclosures or advertisements on there that they're going to take it if you owe back taxes, that they're going to take it out of your lottery winnings, that if you owe back child support, they're going to take it out of your lottery winnings. So this will be consistent with whatever they do with the other categories, back taxes, court cost, child support. This will be added in just with them.
Senator from Fairfax City.
I thank the gentleman.
For what purpose does the senator from Roanoke City, Senator Edwards, rise?
Mr. President, will the senator from Lynchburg yield for a question?
Will the senator yield?
Mr. President, I yield.
Senator yields. Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, are you aware that famous used to be TANF funds are entitlements that people are entitled to under certain restricted circumstances, people who are poor?
Senator from Lynchburg.
Speaking to the question from the senator from Oak City, this is a block grant that TANF funds are a block grant from the federal government to the state. People apply from the state. So they have to apply, and then they are awarded by the state. To the extent that we pay these monies out to people that have a windfall by winning the lottery, those monies will be repaid to the state and then paid out to assist with needy families.
Senator from Roanoke City.
Mr. President, are not the people who are recipients of TANF funds needy?
Senator from Lynchburg.
Mr. President, in fact, they are very needy right up until the time that they win more than $25,000 in the Virginia State Lottery. It is my contention in this bill that should someone who is receiving temporary assistance for needy families after they win the lottery over $25,000 cease to become needy families and can repay what they have gotten from the state. And just to clarify, the average payment to a needy family is about approximately $300 a month. So, and if I may address further the senator from Roanoke City's question, New York State has a limit of $600. So if in New York State, if you win a lottery paying more than $600, they take TANF money out of those lottery proceedings. We have set the limit at $25,000 in this bill.
Senator from Roanoke City.
Mr. President, speaking to this bill.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, this is a particularly odious bill. These needy people are getting TANF monies because they're needy. So now we're going to say we got to keep you down. You get a winning lottery. What rationale is it to say you're not entitled to the lottery money? If they're no longer entitled to TANF, that's another issue. But to pay it back to the state, there's absolutely no legal obligation to do that. There's absolutely no consideration involved here. You win a lottery because you win a lottery. Are you going to want to discourage anybody who's on TANF from even buying the lottery? Is that what we're doing? That makes no sense at all. So that's not going to help a lottery if you're going to say people who are poor, who are on TANF, no point in buying the lottery because, after all, you're not going to keep it. And that's going to discourage people from buying into the lottery. And we use lottery for public education. We want to encourage people to buy the lottery if they want to. And that encourages money for our public education system. This is a particularly odious bill. I hope we vote against it. Thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the senator. For what purpose does the senator from Northern Chesapeake, Senator Spruill, rise?
To ask a question to the senator, please.
Senator from Lynchburg?
Yes, sir.
Will Senator from Lynchburg yield for a question?
Mr. President, I yield.
Senator will yield. Senator has the floor.
My question is that let's suppose if I've stayed in a project, for example, and some projects you pay based on your pay. And they let me stay in there for $50 a month because of my income. Now all of a sudden I hit the lottery big, and I like to call names in here. So I want to stay in the Central Norman neighborhood because I hit it big. So now because I hit it big, because I stayed in the projects that pay $50 a month because I had the money, do I have to go back and pay that money back because when I was poor, I paid $50, and now I hit it big. So now I don't have to pay it back because they let me have a low income before.
Senator from Lynchburg.
Mr. President, this bill adds money that has been paid from TANF, temporary assistance for needy families. If they win the lottery with more than $25,000 using money that they have received from the state, they repay the state for those 5 years. It does not apply to anything other than temporary assistance for needy families.
Thank you, Mr. President. Thank you.
Senator, for what purposes does the senior senator from Loudoun, Senator Black, rise?
Speak to the measure.
Senator has the floor.
Ladies and gentlemen, just very briefly, somehow it troubles me very deeply that the citizens of Virginia are paying people to buy lottery tickets. That's really the thrust of it. I mean, if we pay TANF to help to support families that can't support themselves, if they're able to go out and buy a bunch of lottery tickets, then we ought to be able to recoup that money, because I don't think that's what the citizens of Virginia are paying those TANF funds for. They should not be buying lottery tickets, and if they do, we ought to get the money back.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to speak to Senate Bill 192? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 192 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 21, noes 18.
Ayes 21, noes 18. Senate Bill 192 passes.
Senate Bill 202, a bill relating to public employment, prohibited discrimination based on sexual orientation or gender identity, and we have two floor amendments.
The senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Yes, Mr. President. First, I would move that we reconsider the vote by which the bill was ordered to be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the vote by which Senate Bill 202 was engrossed and advanced to its third reading be reconsidered? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 39, no 0.
Ayes 39, no 0. The motion is agreed to.
And I would move that we waive the reading of the floor amendment. And I don't know if that's where this is where I explain it or. Okay. So later or now? Okay. Anyway, I move that we waive the reading of the floor amendment.
The question is, shall the reading of the floor amendment be waived. All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the floor amendment is waived.
And then
Senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Yes. Before I move that we make my next motion, I wanted to explain the floor amendment. This is just adding the word creed into the list of characteristics that we don't discriminate in employment, a person's creed. And I believe the junior senator from Virginia Beach wanted to explain that.
Junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator D. Staff.
Mr. President, I'd be happy to explain that. I unfortunately
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Unfortunately, I was in another committee meeting, so I handed off my proxy and didn't have a chance to catch up with the the senator from Alexandria, or the gentle lady from Fairfax, I believe it is, and the other gentleman that supported this bill, and I believe he's from Accomack. I'm sorry, she was from Loudoun. Anyways, the reason I, in the past, have always supported this bill is I don't have any issues with what they put in the bill. I had an issue with what they took out of the bill. And when they took creed being your underlying moral fabric, what we pass on to our kids and we raise our children by, whether you agree, your creed can be anything very, very wide, but that underlying moral fabric, when we took that out of the code, I had an issue with it. And I did not have an opportunity to talk to the senator from Alexander until today about this. I'm sorry, I think he's Alexander. Anyways, the senator from Alexander, Peanut Gallery. Anyways, so when I did and had a chance to explain it to him, I said I did want to explain my vote as well, because in the past I've always supported this. I've never discriminated against anyone, and I really wanted to get our creed, that underlying moral fabric, fiber back in the code. Thank you very much.
Thank the senator. Senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Yes, I move we engross the bill and advance it to its third reading.
Senator, will we first move to agree to the floor amendment?
I move that we agree to the floor amendments.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the floor amendment be agreed to? All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor amendment is agreed to. The senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Now I move that we engross the bill and advance it to its third reading.
Question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading. The senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
I move that we suspend the rules and dispense with the third constitutional reading.
The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the third constitutional reading be dispensed with? All those in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 2.
Ayes 37, noes 2. The constitutional reading is dispensed with. Senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Now I move that the bill pass, and speaking to the motion.
The senator has the floor.
I hope we agree that all qualified Virginians should be treated fairly and equally, particularly as SB 202 covers in matters of employment. SB 202 brings the code in alignment with the executive order of 4 of the last 5 governors prohibiting employment discrimination, and aligns our state policy with that of most Fortune 500 companies, including each of the 19 Fortune 500 companies here in Virginia. And every year when we bring this up, I'm always surprised that the following categories are not already included in the code, and those include race, color, religion, national origin, sex, pregnancy, childbirth, or related medical conditions, age, marital status, disability, sexual orientation, gender identity, status as a veteran, and now creed. So with that, I renew my motion that the bill pass.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 202? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 202 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 28, noes 10, Rule 36-1.
Ayes 28, noes 10, Rule 36-1. The bill passes. For what purposes the senator from Fairfax City rise?
Mr. President, having voted on the prevailing side, I move that we can reconsider the vote.
The question is, shall the vote by which Senate Bill 202 passed be reconsidered. All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, noes 1.
Ayes 38, noes 1. The motion is agreed to. The senator from Accomack, Senator Lewis.
Mr. President, rise for a motion.
That's okay. We'll come back to you. Senator from Alexandria, Senator Evan.
Having previously explained the bill, I renew my motion that SB 202 pass.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall Senate Bill 202 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 29, noes 10.
Ayes 29, noes 10. Senate Bill 202 passes. For what purpose does the senator from Accomack rise?
Now, Mr. President, for a motion, Mr. President.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, having voted on the prevailing side by which we passed Senate Bill 192, I ask that we reconsider that vote.
The question is, shall the vote by which Senate Bill 192 was passed be reconsidered? All in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 37, noes 0.
Ayes 37, noes 0. The motion is agreed to. Senator from Lynchburg, Senator Pete.
Mr. President, I move that the bill go by for the day.
Without objection, Senate Bill 192 will go by for the day.
Senate Bill 246, a bill relating to insurance agents' licensing requirements.
The senator from Petersburg, Senator Dance.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill pass.
Senator, speak to the bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Speaking to the bill, having introduced this bill on behalf of the State Corporation Commission, this bill amends the agent's licensing chapter of the insurance title to remove an exemption from examination requirements for individuals who have been awarded a chartered property and casualty underwriter or chartered life underwriter designations. The bill includes clarifying amendments to the State Corporation Commission's agent's licensing chapter. The exemption has rarely been used by licensing candidates, and removing the requirement will give Virginia closer to the licensing requirements in other states, promoting greater uniformity. Again, I move that the bill pass.
Thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 246? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 246 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 36, noes 1, Rule 36-2.
Ayes 36, noes 1, Rule 36-2. Senate Bill 246 passes.
Senate Bill 423, a bill relating to the Virginia Fair Housing Law, unlawful discriminatory housing practices, sexual orientation, and gender identity.
The junior senator from Loudoun County, Senator Wexton.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill pass. And speaking to the motion.
The senator has the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill 423 would add discrimination on the basis of an individual's sexual orientation or gender identity as an unlawful housing practice. It applies to commercial landlords, those folks who have multi-unit dwellings, 3 or more rental properties. It does not apply to landlords with fewer than 3 rental units. It doesn't apply to folks who are renting out rooms in the basement or in some other dwelling that they currently occupy, and it doesn't apply to religious organizations in their parsonage houses. A person's sexual orientation or gender identity has nothing to do with whether they're going to be a good tenant or a good neighbor, or whether they're going to pay their rent on time, and those are the considerations that should be made when making the decisions whether or not to rent. And as we're seeking to attract new businesses to Virginia, we need to recognize that this is one of the things that companies consider when making decisions whether to locate or expand in a particular state. And as of 2017, and I've been carrying this bill for a while, and every year it's more and more. Among the old guard Fortune 500 companies, 92% now protect their employees based on their sexual orientation and 82% based on gender identity. And they are not going to want to come to Virginia if we don't protect their employees. So I would ask that the body pass this measure.
I thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 423? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 423 pass? Those in favor of the motion will record their vote aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 29, noes 10.
Ayes 29, noes 10. Senate Bill 423 passes.
Senate Bill 547, a bill relating to transient occupancy tax, eligible historic lodging properties.
The senator from Augusta, Senator Hanger.
Bill go by for the day.
Without objection, Senate Bill 547 will go by for the day.
Senate Bill 654, a bill relating to the Virginia Health Club Act, automated external defibrillators required in health clubs.
The senator from Prince William County, Senator McPike.
Mr. President, I move that the bill pass, and speaking to that motion.
The senator has the floor.
This bill would require that health clubs and fitness facilities have an automatic defibrillator device installed. This has been something that the American Heart Association and the American College of Sports Medicine have advocated since 2002. Today's modern AEDs verbally walk you through what to do. The statistics show that every minute that passes, you're 7 to 10% more likely to have neurological damage, as well as the survivability rates of a cardiac event decreased by minutes. As an EMT and firefighter over the last 18 years, I can tell you firsthand those with early intervention within AED do save lives. And in fact, it has a 40% survival rate with compression and with an AED present. So this is why this bill has come forward and asked the bill passed.
I thank the senator. Do any other senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 654? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 654 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their votes? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 28, noes 11.
Ayes 28, noes 11. Senate Bill 654 passes.
Senate Bill 755, a bill relating to annuity contracts purchased to fund certain retirement benefits, limits on de-risking transactions, limitation on transfers, protection from creditors' claims.
The senior senator from Richmond City, Senator Sturdivant.
Mr. President, I move that the bill pass, and speaking to that bill.
The senator has the floor.
Mr. President, Senate Bill 755 is a bill to help protect seniors and their retirement benefits. Right now, if you're some companies still offer pensions, and if you receive your retirement benefits through a pension, we've seen in the last number of years that in order to manage those pension liabilities, some companies, in lieu of maintaining that pension, have instead converted it over to an annuity, a very large annuity, that in most cases works for retirees. And those annuities are held by very large, top-tier, first-rate insurance companies. And oftentimes, the annuity in lieu of the pension provides exactly what the retirees need to last through their retirement. The challenge comes in, however, when those insurance companies, in some cases, sell off those annuities to third parties. There are no longer the federal protections in place to make sure that the third parties purchasing those annuities are fiscally sound and fiscally solvent to be able to continue meeting the retirement needs of those retirees. And so my bill requires that the state corporation sign off on any transfer of those retirement annuities from the insurance companies holding them to a third-party purchaser to make sure that that third party is in fact fiscally sound and solvent to be able to continue meeting the need of those annuity holders. And with that, I renew that my motion that the bill pass.
I thank the senator. Do any senators wish to be heard on Senate Bill 755? Seeing none, the question is, shall Senate Bill 755 pass? All those in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 38, no 0, Rule 36-1.
Ayes 38, no 0, Rule 36-1. Senate Bill 755 passes.
Senate Bill 779, a bill relating to the enforceability of non-competition agreements that restrict the right of a physician to practice medicine.
The senator from Franklin, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would now ask that Senate Bill 779 go by for the day because I know one of our senators who loves this bill is not here today. He's away from the Capitol on pressing personal business, and I know he wants to lodge his vote for freedom and liberty, justice in America. So if you would, Mr. President, please pass Senate Bill 779 by for the day.
Without objection, Senate Bill 779 will go by for the day.
Uncontested calendar. Senate bills on second reading.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I respectfully move that all the Senate bills on the uncontested calendar on the second reading, which would include all Senate bills on pages 15 through 20, including Senate Bill 37 through Senate Bill 739, be engrossed and advanced to the third reading in the block after the adoption of any amendments. Any senator who desires to remove a bill from the block, please do so after the clerk has read the number of that bill.
I thank the senator. The question is, shall all Senate bills on second reading on the uncontested calendar on pages 15 through 20, Senate Bill 37 through Senate Bill 739, be engrossed and advanced to their third reading in the block after the adoption of the amendments thereto, and that any senator desiring to remove a bill from the block do so after the clerk has read the number of the bill. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to.
Senate Bill 37, reported from the Committee on Finance with amendment.
Senator from Franklin, Senator Stanley.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move the committee amendment for Senate Bill 37.
Question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is agreed to.
Senate Bill 130, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections. Senate Bill 152, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections. Senate Bill 256, reported from the Committee on Local Government. Senate Bill 471, reported from the Committee on Finance. Senate Bill 474, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections. Senate Bill 485, reported from the Committee on Finance. Senate Bill 571, reported from the Committee on Finance with a substitute, and we have a floor substitute.
The junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator DeStaff.
Mr. President, I rise to reject the committee substitute.
With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
The noes have it. The committee substitute is rejected. Junior Senator from Virginia Beach, Senator DeStaff.
Mr. President, I request we waive the reading of the substitute.
The question is, shall the reading of the substitute be waived? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The reading of the substitute is waived. The junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator DeStaff.
Mr. President, explaining the floor substitute.
Senator has the floor.
What this does is basically adds a new title which clarifies what was discussed in the bill. And then the second piece of this better reflects what the original bill required that the Senate pass out of both the Agricultural Committee and out of Finance. With that, I request we
be agreed to.
Move the floor substitute. First day with a new tongue. I move the floor substitute be agreed to.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the floor substitute be agreed to? All in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The floor substitute is agreed to. The junior senator from Virginia Beach, Senator DeStaff.
Mr. President, I recommend or request we pass this to its third constitutional reading.
It's in the block. Okay, we'll leave this in the block. To be part of the block motion.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank the senator.
Senate Bill 693, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources with a substitute, and reported from the Committee on Finance.
The senator from Accomack, Senator Lewis.
Mr. President, I move the substitute from the Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources Committee.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? All in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The substitute is agreed to.
Senate Bill 716, reported from the Committee on Rehabilitation and Social Services with amendment, and reported from the Committee on Finance with amendment.
The senator from Chesterfield, Senator Chase.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the amendment be agreed to.
And I would ask the senator, I believe there are two amendments. Would you like to each one
Yes,
separate?
individually. Yes, and I move that the amendment from Finance also be agreed to as well.
Okay, we'll do it one at a time. So we'll start with Rehabilitation and Social Services. Is that okay?
That sounds great.
Okay, great. The question is, shall the committee amendment from Rehabilitation and Social Services be agreed to? All in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment from Rehabilitation and Social Services is agreed to.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to engross and advance this bill to its third
I'm sorry.
constitutional reading.
We'll do the one for Finance just for a clean record. Do you want to move the one for Finance?
Whatever you'd like, Mr. President.
I don't hear that very often. The question is, shall the committee amendment from Finance be agreed to? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment from Finance is agreed to.
We can move it in the block.
And it's now in the block.
Okay, good.
Thank you, Senator.
Senate Bill 739, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections.
The question is, shall the Senate bills be engrossed in advance to their third reading?
Mr. President.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Returning to page 16 of the calendar, I would respectfully ask that Senate Bill 256 be removed from the block and passed by for the day.
Without objection, Senate Bill 256 is removed from the block and passed by for the day.
Mr. President, if I may direct your attention to page 19 of the calendar, I would respectfully ask that Senate Bill 693 be removed from the block and passed by for the day.
Without objection, Senate Bill 693 is taken out of the block and passes by for the day. Any further motions? The question is, shall the Senate bills be engrossed in advance to their third reading? That is all bills except Senate Bill 256 and Senate Bill 693. All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills are engrossed in advance to their third reading.
Regular calendar, Senate bills on second reading. Senate Bill 144, a bill relating to form of ballot, party identification of candidates, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections with a substitute.
Senator from Northern Chesapeake, Senator Spruill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move the substitute.
The question is, shall the substitute be agreed to? All in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The substitute is agreed to.
Thank you, Mr. President. Now I move.
Senator has the floor.
Thank you, sir. Now, Mr. President, I move that Senate Bill 144 be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall Senate Bill 144 be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 144 is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 150, a bill relating to elections, ascertainment of results by the Electoral Board, write-in votes.
Senator from Roanoke City, Senator Edwards.
Mr. President, I move that the bill be engrossed in advance to the amendment. I move that the bill be engrossed in advance to its third reading.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the bill be engrossed in advance to its third reading? All in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 150 is engrossed in advance to its third reading.
Senate Bill 153, a bill relating to elections, form of ballot, order of independent candidates, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections with amendments.
Senator from Roanoke City, Senator Edwards.
Mr. President, I move that the P&E's amendment, the Committee on Privileged Elections amendment, be adopted.
Question is, shall the amendments be adopted? All those in favor of the motion will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendments are adopted. The Senator from Roanoke City, Senator Edwards.
Mr. President, I move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 187, a bill relating to zoning penalties, reported from the Committee on Local Government with amendments.
The Senator from Arlington, Senator Favola.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the amendments be agreed to.
The question is, shall the amendments be agreed to? All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendments are agreed to. The Senator from Arlington, Senator Favola.
Mr. President, I move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 242, a bill relating to Park Authority liability immunity, reported from the Committee on Local Government with amendment.
The Senator from Western Fairfax, Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the committee amendments be agreed to.
The question is, shall the committee amendment be agreed to? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is agreed to. The Senator from Western Fairfax, Senator Marsden.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill be engrossed and passed on to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 247, a bill relating to industrial hemp research, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources with the substitute, and reported from the Committee on Finance with the substitute.
The Senator from Petersburg, Senator Dance.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the recommendation that it be rejected, I move that the agriculture substitute be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. With the recommendation that it be rejected, the question is, shall the Agricultural Committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The noes have it. The substitute is rejected. Senator from Petersburg, Senator Dance.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the substitute from Finance be agreed to.
The question is, shall the substitute from the Finance Committee be agreed to? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The substitute from Finance is agreed to. The Senator from Petersburg, Senator Dance.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 264, a bill relating to the Campaign Finance Disclosure Act of 2006, Campaign Committee's electronic filing requirement, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections.
The Senator from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would move that Senate Bill 264 be engrossed and advanced to its third constitutional reading.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third constitutional reading? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 264 is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 374, a bill relating to the Cattle Industry Board, reported from the Committee on Agriculture, Conservation, and Natural Resources with a substitute, and reported from the Committee on Finance.
The Senator from Russell, Senator Chafin.
Mr. President, I move the committee substitute.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to. Senator from Russell, Senator Chafin.
Mr. President, what we all need is more beef. I move that the bill be engrossed and passed to its third reading.
The question is, shall Senate Bill 374 be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 379, a bill relating to Office of the General Registrar, open 5 days a week, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections with a substitute.
The senator from Russell, Senator Chafin.
Mr. President, I move the committee substitute.
The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to. The senator from Russell, Senator Chafin.
And now, Mr. President, I move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 379 is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 445, a bill relating to the Advisory Board on Philanthropy and Social Innovation, reported from the Committee on Finance with a substitute.
The junior senator from Loudoun County, Senator Wexton.
Mr. President, could that bill go by for the day, please?
Without objection, Senate Bill 445 will go by for the day.
Senate Bill 454, a bill relating to inoperable vehicles, James City County, reported from the Committee on Local Government.
The senator from Williamsburg, Senator Mason.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 523, a bill relating to voter identification, electronic poll books to contain photographs of voters, reported from the Committee on Finance with amendment.
The senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I move the Finance Committee amendment be adopted.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the committee amendment be adopted? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendment is adopted. The senator from Rockingham, Senator Obenshain.
Mr. President, I'd ask that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 556, a bill relating to general registrars, appointment from adjoining locality.
The senator from Williamsburg, Senator Mason.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 589, a bill relating to Election Day Page Program, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections with amendments.
The senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
I move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
So we want to. Should we move the committee?
I'm sorry. I move that we adopt the committee substitute amendments.
Sure. The question is, shall the committee amendments be adopted? All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee amendments are adopted. The senator from Alexandria, Senator Eben.
Move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 594, a bill relating to personal property taxes, reported from the Committee on Local Government.
Senator from Fauquier, Senator Vogel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. Senate Bill 594 is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 834, a bill relating to voter registration list maintenance, voters identified as registered in multiple states.
Senator from Russell, Senator Chafin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its third reading? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Senate Bill 902, a bill relating to property tax exemption for solar energy equipment and facilities, reported from the Committee on Finance with a substitute.
The senator from Portsmouth, Senator Lucas.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the committee substitute be agreed to.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the committee substitute be agreed to? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The committee substitute is agreed to. The senator from Portsmouth, Senator Lucas.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the bill be engrossed and advanced to its constitutionally required third reading.
Thank you, Senator. The question is, shall the bill be engrossed and advanced to its constitutional third reading? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bill is engrossed and advanced to its third reading.
Uncontested calendar, Senate bills on first reading.
Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd move all the Senate bills on the first reading on both the uncontested and regular calendar, including all Senate bills on pages 27 through 41, including Senate Bill 14 through Senate Bill 895, that the first constitutional reading of the titles be that the first constitution of the titles be dispensed with.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the rules be suspended and the first reading of the titles of Senate bills on the uncontested and regular calendars, pages 27 through 41, Senate Bill 14 through Senate Bill 895, be dispensed with? All in favor of the motion will record their votes aye. Those opposed, no. Are the senators ready to vote? Have all the senators voted? Do any senators desire to change their vote? The clerk will close the roll.
Ayes 35, no 0.
Ayes 35, no 0. The reading of the titles is dispensed with. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now ask all the bills be passed by for the day, sir.
The question is, shall the Senate bills on the uncontested and regular calendars now on second reading be passed by for the day? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The bills will go by for the day.
Uncontested calendar, Senate joint resolutions on second reading.
The Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I now move that all of the Senate joint resolutions on the second reading on the uncontested calendar, including all resolutions on pages 41 through 43, including Senate Joint Resolution 43 through Senate Joint Resolution 77, be engrossed in advance to the third reading in the block after the adoption of any amendments. Any senator who may desire to remove a resolution from the block should please do so after the clerk has read the number of that resolution.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall all Senate joint resolutions on second reading on the uncontested calendar on pages 41 through 43, Senate Joint Resolution 43 through Senate Joint Resolution 77, be engrossed in advance to the third reading in the block after the adoption of the amendments thereto, and that any senator desiring to remove a resolution from the block do so after the clerk has read the number of the resolution? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The motion is agreed to.
Senate Joint Resolution 43, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections with amendment.
The Senator from Fauquier, Senator Vogel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the amendment be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the amendment be agreed to? All in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to.
Senate Joint Resolution 44, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections with amendments.
The Senator from Fauquier, Senator Vogel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the amendment be agreed to.
The question is, shall the amendment be agreed to? All those in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to.
Senate Joint Resolution 45, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections. Senate Joint Resolution 46, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections. Senate Joint Resolution 71, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections with amendment.
Senator from Fauquier, Senator Vogel.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the amendment be agreed to.
The question is, shall the amendment be agreed to? All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to.
Senate Joint Resolution 77, reported from the Committee on Privileges and Elections with amendment.
The Senator from Fauquier, Senator Vogel.
Mr. President, I move that the amendment be agreed to.
Thank the Senator. The question is, shall the amendment be agreed to? All in favor will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The amendment is agreed to. The question is, shall the Senate joint resolutions be engrossed in advance to their third reading? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The ayes have it. The joint resolutions are engrossed in advance to their third reading. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Blessedly, Mr. President, does that complete today's calendar?
Yes, sir.
Is there any other business to come before the Senate? The clerk will report any announcement. Would you like to be heard? Senator from Roanoke County, Senator Suderline.
Thank you, Mr. President. I rise for a brief point of personal privilege.
The Senator has the floor.
I don't want to trespass on anyone's Friday, But because debate was cut off on Senate Bill 106, I just want to address a critical issue. During the debate, it was suggested that the redistricting reform bill placed compactness above everything else. I think compactness is incredibly important, and I think everyone that drives very far between divided territories would agree to represent their people. But I would just point out again, as I pointed out 2 days ago, that the bill requires that districts shall be drawn in accordance with requirements of federal and state laws and judicial decisions interpreting such laws that address racial and ethnic fairness, including the Equal Protection Clause of the United States Constitution and the provisions of the Federal Voting Rights Act of 1965 as amended. And that's been placed in there to again demonstrate our commitment to it, not because we have to follow something from the federal government, but it's because we believe in something as well. I also want to address the concern about the language in the bill that says existing political boundaries shall be respected to the maximum extent possible. And some folks have suggested that was, terrible language that would create all sorts of problems. I just want to point out to the chamber that wasn't my own wordsmithing that I'd come up with in my mind, but that in 2017, the senators from Northern Fairfax and from Fauquier used such language. In 2017, the senator from Portsmouth, senator from Augusta. I mean, there's a large bipartisan group of us that use this language because we believe it's an effective way to express what we need to do on compactness. And I hope that we're successful on the other chamber, which hasn't always liked redistricting reform. Hopefully they like it a little more this year, and I appreciate the indulgence of the body.
Thank the senator. Senator from Hanover, Senator McDougal.
Mr. President, I unhappily rise for a motion.
Senator has the floor.
Mr. President, there's a rise to ask unanimous consent to introduce a joint resolution dealing with the Women's Monument Commission. Madam Clerk has been sick, as many of y'all know, for over a week and candidly did not get this to us in a timely fashion, and we've had some problem with as you can tell, I'm not going to take full credit for this. Mr. President, we've had some challenges with the appointees from down the hall and the third floor making our meetings on a regular basis, which has created quorum issues. And so this would allow them to have designees. You can be rest assured, though, that your members of the Senate do attend, and so we're not the problem. But with that, Mr. President, I would ask unanimous consent to introduce the resolution for the Women's Commission.
The question is, shall the Senate grant consent to introduce a joint resolution relating to the Women's Monument Commission? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The consent of the Senate is granted to introduce the joint resolution. Is there any other business to come before the Senate? Seeing none, the clerk will report any announcements on the desk.
Monday, January 29th, 2018, the Committee for Courts of Justice will meet at 8 o'clock a.m. in Senate Room A in the Pocahontas Building. The Republican Caucus will meet at 11:30 a.m. in Senate Room 2. The Democratic Caucus will meet at 11:30 a.m. in Senate Room 1. The weekend weather report. It will be rainy at times throughout the weekend. Please drive safely and have a nice weekend.
Thank the clerk. Senator from James City County, Senator Norman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would now ask that the Senate adjourn until 12 noon on Monday.
Thank the senator. The question is, shall the Senate adjourn until 12 noon on Monday? All in favor of the motion will say aye. Those opposed, no. The motion is agreed to. The Senate stands adjourned until 12 noon on Monday.